But Jay, in that very same game where at Anfield, Man United did actually have a very good, you could say they not dominated, but they were the stronger team on the day. That's because the right channel of Liverpool was quite vacant because Trent kept going up, and as we know, not too keen to defend. Do you think that's just his liabilities and that's just his traits as a right-sided defender in terms of I'm good going forward, not necessarily good going back? Or do you think on other days when Real Madrid is not calling and giving and putting in bids for a transfer that he plays better, do you think he was distracted by the interest?
So it's not just defensively that he had a bad day, right? He in possession as well, which is where you can bank on Trent. He was terrible. He gave possession away so many times. I believe he had the lowest pass completion percentage on the Liverpool side, or maybe of any player on the pitch on the day. It was a Hall of Shame performance. It was a stinker from Trent. But Chuck, I've never bought into this idea that players' minds are gone. Their heads are turned and their minds are not on the game. Because in practice, right, what does that actually look like? When you are out there on the pitch, you mean to tell me, here is your opponent coming to face you. You're about to get into a duel, or you have the ball and you are facilitating the play. You want to pass your teammate. You want to cross the ball. Whatever action that you need to take in any given moment in a game, the thing that disables you from doing it at a high level is because in that moment you think to yourself, man, but like Madrid, those beaches in Madrid, man.
Are you not
in the moment?
Chuck, you're probably aware of the idea that this person is playing like his wife or his girlfriend is in the stands. He's putting on a blinder. Do you not think that the opposite is true in terms of something can put you off your game in that particular game because something's on your mind or something's got your attention?
You see the way that you're asking that question, right?
Yeah.
I would say yes. This is why I said in practice, no, okay. Chuck. I don't understand. It's kind of like I want to say it's like you and me sitting here right now. You know, if something happens in our lives and maybe I say to you, it's like, man, I'm not quite keen to do this recording. As soon as the lights go on and the camera's rolling, you're gonna get me. This is what you're gonna get, and I believe it's the same thing. It's very different from you are sick. You physically cannot perform the act, particularly where sport is concerned. You saw this is the explanation that Arteta gave in terms of what's been happening with the Arsenal squad, and Odegaard looked off color, you know. And if the explanation is that physically he was not at the races, I get that. But in terms of the distraction that in the game, in a big game like that, where the Anfield crowd is behind you, you are chasing a league title, and you know this is a rare occurrence for this Liverpool side for the past 30-something years, you know, and you've got this unique opportunity and you're playing against the hated opponent, the enemy, it's Manchester United, and you've got a chance to do something brilliant. I just think, especially with Trent, we've seen Trent have bad performances defensively. How many times after a performance, especially in a big game, have we come back and said, man, Trent needs to defend better? Klopp needs to do something with Trent. He needs to get into his ear. He needs to ask him to do better, or he needs to apply himself a little more. Trent cannot defend. How can Trent be a defender? All he wants to do is go forward and give those beautiful passes that he does. We've said this about Trent so many times. If this was an anomaly where, man, we know where Trent Alexander-Arnold is concerned, he is one Pisaka at Crystal Palace, you know, where he's going to lock you down. Then you start to wonder, is there something more that's happening? But because we've seen the shambles of defensive performances from Trent, and this one was up there. I don't mean to take it away from how bad of a performance it was from Trent. I didn't see anything I've not seen from Trent before. But more to the question, I really can't get my mind around how in the throes of battle, you just don't have it, because again, your mind is on, man, do I want to sign here or do I want to sign somewhere else? I can't imagine it. I really just can't imagine it.
Like, for me, I don't even know which way to sway to, because, Jay, right, I think I've said this to you, that I don't quite share the idea with, we're playing away, so this game it's harder. But somehow it exists in football that we're not playing in our stadium, so let's be defensive. And I'm like, but you guys play a particular way when you're playing in your home team, in your home stadium. Why not play this aggressive style anyway, right? But somehow it holds in football. Then you've heard someone like Rashford say that he's been going through some emotional things. That's why post the 30 goal season it was hard going. I don't know what was wrong with Rashford. He never told us, but there are these ideas that things can distract you off the pitch. I don't know, right? That's why I don't know where to sit on this fence. But in my mind, though, when we speak about Trent specifically, I think let's not single out Trent. Everyone was having relatively a bad day. I mean, Luis Diaz, come on. Do you remember
Robertson
that Jones was playing?
on the other flank?
Like I said to you that as much as United were supposed to, apparently, because everyone was saying we were happy that it's snowing and the game might be postponed. No, we were not. We were not afraid of anyone, even if it's Liverpool. But the idea that we were supposed to get walloped, I didn't see Liverpool put it on us. I didn't see us hanging on for dear life in any part of that game because they didn't come at us like they were supposed to. Mo Salah did his thing, but how many times did Mo Salah get on the ball? Not as often as he does on other games. I didn't think Van Dijk was solid as well, so I just think generally Liverpool weren't that good. And when you're someone like Trent Alexander-Arnold and your team is not that good to cover for you, it's going to be exposed like 10 times more. So I don't think necessarily he's distracted. There are players like Mo Salah who's out of contract. He's having a season of his life. Is this a boost?
And he is talking about it. He keeps talking about how this is his last season. And look what he's doing, right? So, Chuck, if for me, right, if you are going through something and if you are unhappy, like Rashford, for example, if we were to presume that Rashford is currently unhappy at Manchester United, then I could see how that would affect your performance because you don't want to play.
Okay.
That's different way you don't want to play. If Trent was in a situation whereby Real Madrid want him and Liverpool don't want to let him go, which is not the case, right? Then I get that way. He's said to the board, I want to leave. I don't want to be here. And because he's within his contract and there's nothing he can do, it's binding. Then I could see that. But where we don't really know what is happening with Trent. But what we're hearing is his head has been turned, and as a result, it affects the performance. I can't see how that happens.
Yeah, I don't think so as well, Che. I think when you look at someone like Virgil van Dijk, his contract is also up for debate in terms of does he extend, does he go somewhere else? He's playing regular level, except for on Sunday, he didn't play particularly well. So I think generally speaking, Jay, not too many players are distracted by their contract situation unless you are, was it Hakimi, who was frozen out at PSG because they didn't want to sign an extension. Then you're like, okay, that affects your football. But apart from just day-to-day training and how you apply yourself in a game, most players play even better because they want better money if they want to stay at the club or if they want to promote themselves to a different club. So I think in Trent's case, I don't think it's necessarily true, but as far as players are affected by contracts.